what's happening, everybody? Hey, high level, what's up? Good to see you. Johnny A, Cynthia, liberal from Texas. Always great to see you. All right. It is Weddedness Day. Weddedness Day. And it's September 3rd. So that's cool. It just so happens to be an anniversary for me. Some of you who were here last night might have heard about it. Let's see. I think I'll cue this up for a little bit later. Do 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 do. There we go. Body ya da 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 da. All right. Cherry, what's up? Good to see you. The ladies are here. Yes. Yes. So, yeah, I'm going to start bringing people up soon. Let's tap on that screen, get the likes up so the platform knows we are here. Tap away, tap away. And then after that, we'll do all the tasks. We'll do the shares. Tara sent me a heart me. Thank you so much. We're gonna tap. We're gonna share. We're gonna heart me. We're gonna do all the good stuff, just to make sure that we are more than just a tiny blip on the radar, or at least a tiny blip on the radar. How about that? I'll take that. I'll take being at the very least a tiny blip on the radar. Thank you, High Level, for getting me a heart me. Appreciate it. All right. It was the 3rd of September, a day I'll always remember. Yes, I will. It's in a song, and somehow I had a life event that coincides with the date mentioned in that song. Totally random, not by design at all, but it's just one of those things. All right, look at that. You guys got me to 1K likes right away. That's beautiful. The weather is amazing by you. That's good, Cynthia. Excellent. I did take a short stroll out to get some supplies, just real practical stuff, and one treat myself thing. I went out earlier and I got, let's see, I got dandruff shampoo, body wash, and liquid dish soap. Very exciting stuff. But, I needed it, so I got it. And that's good. That's a very first world kind of experience today. And let's see, what else did I get? Oh, to treat myself, I got a 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer, which I've been having those for decades now, but that's, I don't buy them all the time. It's probably fewer than once a month that I buy that, but it feels like a nice treat whenever I can do that. So I can get fake drunk, but enjoy the real urine. What an absurd thing to say. Oh, exactly, Jerry. Laugh my ass off. Jesus Christmas. You need healing, boy. All right. So, what I want to talk about today is encompassed in the title above me, for those of you who can see it. For those of you who can't, in English, I wrote the words magic wand. And my question Oh, that's a good one, Cherry. Baptism or exorcism? Not sure. Well, probably a little bit of both. I mean, if you ask the Catholic Church, they would probably say, no souls saved after 5 p.m. You know, but yeah, it could be a little of both. Um, so if you had, this is a question to everyone in the chat, and then I'll invite people up, whoever wants to come up. It's a simple question, and I want you to give me, if you will, please, the first thing that comes to mind when I ask the question, if you had a magic wand, what would you fix? What would you fix about yourself? That's a better question. Not just generally, what would you fix? What would you fix about yourself? Um, it's one of those questions that I ask myself once in a while. It's changed over time as my needs have changed. Yes, Cherry, about yourself. Because fixing the world, of course, we want to do that, but I want you to focus on yourself. Just the first thing that comes to mind. If I had a magic wand, I would do this to improve my life. And it doesn't matter what it is. Don't judge the answer. If it's go to the strip joint more often, that's an acceptable answer. If it's read more books, if it's, work on my anger, whatever it is, that's the question. Take debt away. Yeah. More money. So, yeah. So I love that because we're talking about circumstances. So, you know what? I'll ask a better question. What about your psychology would you change? If you had a magic wand, what about you in terms of who you are as a person would you change? That's a better question. Cherry says not to be a people pleaser and have better boundaries. I love that answer. Cherry, if you want to come up and talk about that more, I would love to get into that subject with you because that's something that I've learned how to do very, very well. And I'd love to talk more about that. So I know I can't invite you up, so there you go. Cherry took the initiative to come on up and be contestant number 1 on Yoddah Live. What's up,
Hey,
Cherry?
hello. How is everybody?
Hopefully
You're
everybody's
too much
good.
in a party mode for me, Yoda. I mean,
Yeah, you
dish soap
think?
and non-alcoholic beer, like turn up.
Yeah. I'm going to rage out later. I only had 2 of them and I'm already not tipsy at all.
I love it.
So I'm going to get more not tipsy after this.
No judgment here, honey.
Let's see. Cynthia says, is it wrong to say I've already done that work? No, it wouldn't be wrong to say that. But we always could use refinements. Maybe something that you do well that you'd like to do better. But let's start with Cherry's answer because this is something that I wrestled with a lot when I was younger because believe it or not, like everybody else, I want to be liked. I like being liked. I like it when people like me, right? I also am fully aware that no one is going to be liked by everybody, but if you give me a choice between being liked and disliked, I would prefer to be liked. And so when you talk about setting boundaries, you run the risk of upsetting people, right? And that's the fear that very often makes us continue to sacrifice ourselves to please other people. But obviously that's not healthy. It's certainly not the most destructive thing you can engage in, but it does abrade you a little bit inside. There is a price to pay for constantly seeking to please people. And we have another couple of people that want to come in. We have Tara and we have High Level Intellect. All right.
I
So,
think for me, Yoda,
yeah.
like it's more of I should have worded it a bit better, but like as far as like boundaries go, where I let people disrespect me and it's like I
Mm-hmm.
give chances.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I finally learned now to be like, no, you fucking treated me wrong the first time and you don't get a second chance.
Yeah, that's solid for sure. And so I get into this with people very often. The idea of like, would you let other people talk to you the way you talk to yourself,
That part, yeah.
right?
Mm.
And almost without fail, the answer is no, because I'm
No,
very harsh,
exactly.
right? So you just, for me, I had to get to the point where my peace was valuable enough for me to lose friends over,
That
you
This
part.
know,
is priority.
and the thing is, and this is what we always have to remember, life springs from us, right? The Bible starts off with 13 statements in a row that says, and God spoke and created this, that, and the other thing. And God spoke. So that metaphor to me means your life springs from your word, right? And
Yep.
so you've got to be faithful to your word and your life and what you want. And we teach people, whether we're trying to or not, how to treat us. We are
Agree
always
1,000%.
teaching each other that. It's called behavior
Mm-hmm.
modification. Some people do it on purpose, some people do it by accident. But either way, we're going to teach people how to treat us. And before we continue, let me say hello to everybody else. We've got Tara. Hello, Tara.
Hello, sir.
How you feeling this evening?
I'm all right. The kiddos come tomorrow for the first time, so I
Nice.
won't be on late,
Okay,
but I wanted to join for a bit. I like this topic.
that's
Same.
excellent. Yeah. And we've got High Level. How you doing, brother?
All
All
is
right.
well, Master Yoda. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm
I
good. And
like that.
Jessica, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Yoda?
Good, good. So we'll go in order of the people that arrived. We started with Cherry and that thing. And so there's something that I learned from reading a short story. It's the lesser known work from Herman Melville.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody knows him for writing Moby Dick, but he wrote this short story that was so popular that 3 films have been made about this short story. The
Oh,
latest of
really?
which starred Crispin Glover, who we might remember from Back to the Future and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So it's called Bartleby the Scrivener, and the Scrivener is not a word used often these days because that position doesn't exist anymore, but a Scrivener was a human copy machine. Whenever you needed documents distributed, since there was no printing press and all that stuff, everything, if you needed 10 copies, someone had to sit down and write out
Mm-hmm.
10 versions of the same thing, right? So that's what a Scrivener did, which is only coincidental to the story. But um, Bartleby was what we would refer to now as bipolar or manic depressive or something like that, right? And slowly throughout the story, Bartleby withdrew more and more from other people. And the phrase that he used is a phrase that I still use to this day. And I read that story, I think, originally when I was maybe 10 or 12 years old. And whenever someone asked Bartleby to do anything, including his boss, like, do your job, Bartleby, or do you want to go here, Bartleby, or whatever it was, he always replied with, I prefer not to. And that answer used to drive my ex-wife crazy. She hated when I said that. She always used to say, why can't you just tell me yes or no? I was like, because the answer isn't always yes or no. And the reason why I say I prefer not to is because it's a 2-for-1. When you say those words, not only are you answering the question of do you want to do whatever, but you're
Mm-hmm.
giving the reason why. All in
That's cool.
those short little words, right? And so
Start using that.
and then I had to be comfortable with the reaction that I got to that. Oh, you have to go. And I was like, no, I don't. You have to do this. No, I don't. I don't have to do a fucking thing. You know, I
Fair.
really don't. Like there's a short list of things that you really have to do in terms of like
Mhm.
making sure you make enough money to pay your life and give the government their pound of flesh, right? That's basically it. You know, and if you want to add and croak at the end of it all, yeah, I guess so. That's the persistent rumor, right? But
Yeah.
everything in between that, I don't have to fucking do. And I am not going to have you pressure me into doing it. And if you react badly to my preference over and over and over again over time, I will eventually remove you from my life so that I don't have to deal with that. Because I have a right to self-determination and to say, hey, that's something you want to go to your parents' house? Okay, I don't like it there. I'm not going,
Yeah.
you know? Because
Yeah,
I'm,
that's
you know,
fine.
because I know, especially with men, I know women have a version of this too, but because I'm a man, I know my version of it. You know, there's a breaking point in all of us that's undetermined, but when we allow ourselves to be pressured into things over and over and over again over time, it really abrades our soul. I have a feeling that's why men expire 5 years earlier than women do. It's a thing that happens to us where, right or wrong, good or bad, intentionally or unintentionally, we put the weight of the world on our shoulders, and society generally tells us that we're supposed to do that, and sometimes we don't know how to manage that. So we wind up just kind of over time feeling the burden of that. So that's why
Yeah.
for anyone that talks about boundaries of any level, I like to talk about, I prefer not to, and just be strong enough to deal with what happens after that. So Tara,
100%.
magic wand, what would you change?
Oh, so many things.
What's the first thing that comes to mind?
I wrote in the chat, which is going to be shocking, I know, but to be less sensitive. I come across, like very confident and uh, sometimes like aggressive, but like inside,
Mm-hmm.
I replay everything and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have like reacted that way. And then how did that make this person think of me? And I'm always so like concerned with what other people are thinking of me or saying about me. But
Right.
and like little things I'm more sensitive than people realize.
I get that. I have a hard candy exterior, but I'm gooey caramel on the inside.
Yeah.
That's the reality of me. But now,
You
what would
are.
you gain from being less sensitive? And are you willing to pay the price of that?
I think I'm working on it. I think people have hurt me and it actually toughened me up instead of, you know, succumbing to the sensitivity. I, for the first time in a long time, felt like, no, I didn't do anything. I'm not going to like lay down. I didn't do anything. And I'm going to stand strong on that. And I'm not going to beat myself up over it because I know myself better than you do. And I know my intentions and I know what I meant. And I know, I'm not going to allow that sensitivity to make me apologize, change, say you're right, beat myself up. I'm trying to stand firm in the things that I know in my heart are right. I don't know if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. So There was someone who frequented this live that does not anymore, and it was someone that whenever I would respond, the response was, "Well, that's not what I meant," and I'm like, "Well, that's not my problem. I can only go by what you say, right? I'm not a mind reader." So, do you have, since that was the example that you gave, is that something that happens often in your life where people misunderstand you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So that used to happen to me. And I'm going to give you a solution that sounds fucking goofy, but it worked. It changed my life. Okay. There's a book that's now something like 85 or so years old. It's called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's not corny at all. It's very dialed into the human experience. Because here's what used to happen to me. The feedback that I used to get before I read this book, so this was 91, I think, that I read this book. People used to call me a know-it-all, which always didn't make sense to me. Like, I was like, I don't ever feel that way, ever, about myself. There has never been a moment in my life where I have ever been like, oh yeah, I'm the shit. I really know everything or know whatever. I've never felt like that. I believe that I and all other humans are basically just talking monkeys, right? And I'd say that with all due deference and respect to monkeys because I happen to love monkeys. But that's all I am, is a talking monkey. And so when I speak passionately about something that I know or believe in, some people could see that as overconfidence or arrogance or conceit, but that's never how I felt. So after I read this book, what I realized was I didn't have to change what I was saying. I had to change how I said it.
Yes.
And once I did that, literally overnight, no one ever said that I was a know-it-all ever again. So I highly recommend that book because it's a real keen insight into human behavior, how to win friends and influence people.
I'd ask you again for that title because I also wrote Forgetfulness.
Yeah. Yeah. How to win friends and influence people. It's just, it's, even though it's old, but I know in America, there's this weird orientation to old stuff. Either it's extraordinarily valuable or not valuable at all. Right. Like I don't understand antiques at all, but this is an old book, but it's evergreen ideas because it taps into the reality of humans, and humans haven't changed. In our entire existence, there's barely been any changes in us, and mostly they've been in our body. Like, our pancreas used to do something because we mostly ate raw vegetables, and then once we started cooking food, slowly but surely, the pancreas essentially stopped functioning, right? No, not the pancreas. I'm sorry, the appendix. The appendix is what I meant. So, even though this is old, the information is evergreen, and it really did change my life because I hated hearing that when I was talking to people. It was so annoying to me, So if people misunderstand you, I like to say, just the same way beauty is in the eye of the beholder, communication is in the ear of the listener. So if you if
100%.
yeah. So if you
Some people
want them
cannot
to say, if you want to stop saying I didn't mean that, then it's incumbent upon you to change how you're communicating.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Yeah, literally. Like, people need to learn how to listen, and it takes a mature person to be able to listen when they are either getting attacked or they think they're right, or whatever the case is. You see a lot about someone's true colors by the way they respond, not just within 24 hours of an incident. Give it a few days, give it a week. Like, have they let it go, or are they
Right.
still pressed about it? And to me, at this point in my life, obviously I've been on like a huge journey, as we all, roller coasters. at this point in my life, if you're holding on to something, you're still angry about something a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month later, like, bye.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's a decision that people make. Some people are chaos junkies. I
Yep.
dated a few of them.
We've
This
met
one
a
in
few on
particular,
TikTok.
like literally every time I spent time with her, um, there was always drama. Always someone at work, one of her friends, whatever it was always like every single day of her life. And again, if she was my coaching client today, I would ask her, how do you get that to happen? How do you get drama in your life every single day? And she ironically thought it was weird that I could let go of things so quickly. She thought I was the weird one.
I mean, there's a balance, and it totally depends on what the situation is, obviously, and how badly it's hurt you or
Hmm.
not. Um, sometimes there could be something that just like strikes a chord in me, and I
Hmm.
can't like, it's just something that crossed the line, and I'm like, I just can't move on from it. But, Cherry could speak to it. I've let go of a lot of shit, that I could have held on to, but it wasn't doing me any good.
Yeah. There's the word resentment. I think it's based on a French word, and Cherry, help me out. Is it something like ressente means to refeel?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got it right? Okay, good.
Good job.
So
Gold star. You.
resentment is great because uh, uh, it allows you to have an incident end, but then you get to feel the shit of it over and over and over again just because you won't let it go. Right?
Yeah.
So we choose to refeel, and when I say about like someone with daily drama, that to me is a choice. That sounds like someone who has to have drama in their life. And
Hey,
because
look.
what are the odds that every single day of your life something dramatic is going to happen? I just don't see that as a real thing. You know,
Oh no.
even police have downtime. So yeah. So I'm always very conscious of any resentment that I might have, because any resentment that you have towards someone else, only you feel it. They're not feeling anything. They've gone
Exactly.
on with their life. They
Exactly.
probably never think of you, or whatever it is, but you're sitting there holding on to that poison, hoping the other person will drop from it. And it doesn't make any sense. So it's
Isn't there
just an
something,
impractical
Yoda?
thing. Go
A
ahead.
quote that was like, "Forgiveness doesn't free them from what they did to you; it frees
Yeah.
you from what they did to you."
Yeah.
Type
Yeah.
thing.
Yes. Yes. That was the quote I was trying to remember yesterday, because, when I got forgiven for something that I carried with me for decades, that I did to someone else, out of selfishness, then that was like such a moment in my life where I just felt so unburdened. So after that, I practiced forgiveness, and then that's when that quote made sense to me, because I was like, oh, I see what this is. I've been suffering from the shit that I've chosen to hold on to, and now I can
Yep.
alleviate that suffering just by letting it go. Pretty simple
100%.
stuff. So high level, what's up, brother? What do you think about this question? If you had a magic wand, what would you change about yourself?
Ah, first of all, Tara and Cherry, you guys really spit some facts, man, and I'm really in line with. Um,
Thank
to
you.
the question, of course, to the question that you had asked, Yoda, what would I change? It would be self doubt.
Mm,
Just to kind of give you like a background of a very recent situation, I hung out with a friend of mine and my older brother this past weekend, and I saw this really attractive chick, and I haven't kind of been in the dating game for a while. I've kind of just been in, ISO mode, just getting myself together, building this platform, and et cetera, et cetera. And I went and I spoke to a friend of mine uh, who has his own personal insecurities within himself, right? But if it's your homeboy, you kind of feel like they're gonna give you some advice that would, maybe help with, whatever doubt that you may be experiencing or whatever. So when I had asked him about, hey, what do you think about this chick? Like, you think, I should talk to her? He gave me this weird advice about how, if you're gonna talk to her, talk to her. You don't have to buy her a drink. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. I'm really like traditional, kind of old school, right?
Don't change.
Thank you, Cherry.
And
So, in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I want to take this advice because maybe he's in his element and he understands how these chicks kind of operate or whatever the case may be. So I went ahead and grabbed the girl a drink, and I made a little subtle comment to her. Told her, well, I think I asked her like a question or something like that. Handed her the drink, and then I had walked away from the conversation because I had intent to go back. Only to later find that, they had ended up all leaving, and I kind of had a missed opportunity. But I kind of felt like the advice that I had gotten wasn't the best advice, right? I didn't operate in the now. I was operating from uncertainty,
Yeah.
trying to figure out whether or not, this was, the best time of the evening to, buy this girl a drink and, have a conversation and talk to her. So for me, I think, the doubt of, rejection, and it's so crazy because my entire life, I've been a confident guy, all the way up until I've been single for this long. Right.
Mhm.
The idea would be to remove self-doubt and kind of take my first, go off my first instinct, so to speak, instead of waiting for advice or asking someone advice, which is the friend of mine,
Yeah.
who kind of it threw me off a little bit
Yeah.
because I think I was trying to implement his
Yeah.
way
You can't
of thinking
mimic
versus my own.
someone without understanding what the secret sauce is. Like I talk
Right,
about
right,
Hakeem Jeffries like this. He has completely tried to steal Obama's personality, but he comes off looking like a clown because he doesn't understand what makes Obama an effective speaker. He thinks it's the hand gestures. So every word he says, he has to throw another gesture into the mix, and he looks like a fucking clown, right?
right.
So even though you were courageous enough to make an attempt, his advice was good on the surface, but without understanding the basis of his advice or the philosophy. Because I think anything that you do as a human being, but certainly as a man, has to be righteous. Don't just do
Hmm.
something because it works for someone else. It has to feel righteous to you, you know?
Absolutely.
And I have a quote that I pulled up when you first started. I remembered a young guy that I've been a mentor to for like 10 years now. And the day we met was in a business setting. I was the sales director, and he was there to see if the job was a good fit for him, and I was there to see if he was a good fit for the job. And 10 or 15 minutes into the conversation, I abandoned all of that because I saw, even though he wasn't in pain or there was nothing tragic going on in his life, I saw that doubt was affecting him. So I pulled up this quote. It's a Shakespeare play, Measure for Measure. And the quote is, "Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to attempt."
Right.
And like when it comes to doubt, remember you had said remove the doubt. You don't have to do that. Don't worry about removing the doubt. It's just a feeling. What you need to focus on is proceeding in the face of doubt, right? Just
Hmm.
like if fear is the same thing, doubt is just another form of fear. So we get obsessed with this idea that we have to stop the feelings that we're feeling. That's what a shitty coach would tell you, because I've heard many shitty coaches give that advice. And no, forget about removing the feeling. You're a human being. You have all these feelings that the universe programmed into you for a reason. So go ahead and feel the doubt, but go ahead anyway. Like you talk about rejection. This is a real thing that I did to deal with rejection because I started in sales in 1984 when I was 20 years old. And I've been doing it ever since, and it's my whole life, basically. Certainly my whole adult life. And, you know, in sales, you have to manage rejection or else you're going to go nowhere because you're going to get rejected something like 90% of the time, you know, and in some cases, 98% of the time, depending on what it is you're doing. Right. And there came a point when I was about 6 or 7 years into sales. For some reason, suddenly I developed a real issue with rejection, so much so that I just laid in bed for like 3 months, not wanting to do anything. Right? I didn't want to talk to women because that was fraught with rejection, right? So I took an Anthony Robbins course. And again, that's circumstantial. It doesn't matter whether you like Robbins or not. It doesn't matter whether you're into that kind of stuff or not. That's just what I did, right? And he specifically spoke about rejection. And he said anything that gives you that kind of negative feeling that prevents you from doing something is based on the definition that you've given it. And again, we go back to Shakespeare, which I've quoted 1,000 times and I will never stop quoting. There is nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Rejection is not bad. It's how you feel about rejection, which is going to determine how you feel, right?
Right.
So he said, change the definition. And my definition previously was, well, if someone says no to me in a sales situation or a woman that I'm talking to, then I feel rejected. So I changed the definition. And he suggested, which I think was an excellent suggestion, create a definition around it that makes it almost impossible for you to feel rejected. So my definition was, I will only allow myself to feel rejected if someone takes a weapon and plants one in me. Right? Now that sounds goofy, but here's what happened. For the next 2 weeks, 2, 3, 4 times a day, as I was doing sales calls, and someone said no at the end of the presentation, as I turned to walk out, in my mind, I said the words, at least they didn't SHOOT me. Right?
Right.
Again, sounds goofy, but I did that for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, several times a day. And you know what happened at the end of the 2 weeks? When someone said no, I felt nothing.
I like that.
So that's all it is. A lot of this stuff that we feel is based on definitions that we made. We just forgot that we made the definitions. And we become victims to the monster that we created. Does all that make sense?
Yes, it makes perfect sense, man. Thank you.
And I think
Yeah.
part of it
Ellen?
too, and I just want to give a little insight to high level, speaking as a woman. This generation, and I say it, and I hope it's not coming across as disrespectful. My dad has always said something to me that really didn't strike me until I got into later on in my life when he said to me, people now, and he said it a few weeks ago, he said, people nowadays are so quick to throw something away because they think that the grass is greener on the other side and there's something better, et cetera, and that they don't work on the actual. He said, in my time and age, he was with my mother for 44 years, and he said we always worked on things, but high level, trust me when I tell you that chivalry should not be unalived.
No.
You want to buy that girl a drink, do it. Feel your own vibe, because I will tell you right now, us women appreciate that
Right.
somebody has the actual guts to come and approach us, etc.
Yeah.
And you know what? 9 times out of 10, and I don't know, I can't speak for Tara or any other woman on the panel, but I know I'm going to like you within the first 10 minutes of having a conversation with you.
Right.
Yeah, you can get a vibe.
The problem is that being on the
piggyback
receiving
off
end of rejection is rough, and not all women are polite about it. In fact, many of them are very rude and cruel about it. Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you have two things going on instead of just one. Number one, you've been rejected. Now, number two, someone has insulted you for no reason, you
Yeah.
know, but I agree with everything you said. I think it's important. And this is what I mean by being righteous. Like for me, I hear the advice all the time. Oh, women are not going to date you if you just do coffee dates. That's all I do. And I'm extraordinarily successful in dating because I'm righteous about it. I don't do it as a tactic. I don't do it to save money. That's a great circumstance that accompanies that, but I do it because that feels righteous to me. I want to sit with you, not with distractions, not with shoving food in our mouths. Just sit across from each other and talk for a little while and figure out if we like each other, right?
Hmm.
So that works for me. If you're the person that needs to buy dinner and needs to buy drinks, then be righteous about it and do that.
Hmm.
You know,
Very good.
I see so many of these red pill assholes doing a
Mm.
one size fits all. Well, men have to be this way and women have to be this way. That's garbage. It's just garbage. You know, so whatever you do, just be righteous about it. So
Yeah.
Jessica, the question goes to you. Magic wand, what would you change?
Um, Magic wand, what would I change? I would say what I feel is a lack of motivation. I still handle my responsibilities. I still, you know, I even do like extra shit that isn't, a necessity. But I do it more so out of a feel that I have to, that I
Mm,
need to get these things done. I have to get them done. Rather than feeling an actual sense of motivation, it's more obligation. And I think that's probably the number one thing. But if I could, I actually wanted to touch on something that you had said earlier, Yoda, whenever I think it was Tasha that was talking about,
Tara. Yeah.
wanting to, Tara, thank you, wanting to be less sensitive.
Hmm.
And something that you had said is, are you willing to live with the consequence of that?
Yeah.
And that kind of hit me because I am a person who is living with the consequence of that. I used to be a person who was very sensitive. I wore my heart on my sleeve. I was a people pleaser, almost to the point of being a doormat, quite frankly.
Mm,
Um, and I'm not going to go into great detail, but there was an incident with that I went through with what is now my ex-husband. Um, that was a very traumatic experience, and I had this moment, and to this day, it is the strangest sensation that I've ever experienced in my life because it was almost a physical feeling within my body. It was like a click, like a physical switch flipped inside of me. And I had this realization that no matter what I had done to please this person, no matter what I had done to wear my heart on my sleeve, to try to cater to this person, none of it mattered. And it actually is what led me to being in this situation. Because of those attributes of mine, I allowed myself to be put in this situation. And I had this sensation that I describe as like a switch flipping inside of me. And I am now a person that, I used to be very bubbly. I used to be very, you know, outgoing, and I formed deep connections with people, and I can't do that anymore. I now struggle to form interpersonal relationships with people. I still feel things very deeply. I still cry at movies and music and things of that nature, but when it comes to actually forming connections with people, I can't do it anymore. I'm almost too cynical. I don't care to cut people off and completely drop all contact with them. It doesn't bother me a single bit anymore. I still have people that I care for, but it's like, and I'm sure you've heard me say it, Yoda, I'm a polite person, but I am not a nice person. I used to be a nice person, but I'm not a nice person anymore. And so, as much as you may see it as a detriment to yourself to be, a sensitive person. And yes, you can absolutely improve on holding boundaries and being firm in your boundaries. Just know that it is a balance, and don't take for granted your ability to form connections with people, because once that is gone, you cannot get it back. Or I'm sure maybe you can. Who knows? I haven't been able to. I've been divorced now for 4 years, and I have not had a single relationship within that time. I've had lovers, but I tell them at the very start of it, this is not something I'm going to form an emotional attachment to. I would
Yeah.
prefer that you not form an emotional attachment.
Mm.
And it's very hard to connect to people on an emotional level now,
Right.
because I took it too far and then I lost all of it. So just know that it's a balancing act, and don't take it too far and don't take it for granted, because it's not a great way to live when you do have to live with the consequence of it.
Yeah. Well, you absolutely can change it. But what you reminded me of is in the album The Wall by Pink Floyd, there's a song Mother. And in the song, he talks about his mother teaching him how to build the wall to protect himself. And the last line of the song is, "Mother, did it have to be so high?" Right? So what that told me, what that meant to me, was you build a wall to stop people from getting in, but that same wall can stop you from getting out. But here's the beautiful part. You built the wall, and if it's too high, you can readjust it. You can always make corrections for that kind of stuff in your life because you created it. So of course you can change it. Like, I don't speak to anybody in my family except for my uncle and his children, right? Nobody. And I have a huge family, but I don't speak to anybody. None of my step siblings, none of them. And I was willing to pay the price of losing that big family in order to do it. And it wasn't a choice that I wanted to make. It's a choice that I needed to make for myself, because I don't have people in my life that disturb my peace. That's why
Mm-hmm.
there's a few people that used to be coming here that don't come to this live anymore. You know,
Right.
because it's like, yeah, if you continue to disturb my peace, I'm going to tell you to fuck off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's where I'm at too, is I've found a sense of peace in my life finally. I'm very close with my brothers and my parents, but that's it. I've cut off every single other family member. I have very few close friends that I care about. I'm polite typically to everyone that I meet. I'm not gonna, outwardly be just an outright bitch to people for no reason.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't care if you're not somebody that I deeply have that connection with already. I don't care if I hurt your feelings. I don't care if I offend you. I'm not going to set out to do either of those things. But if it does happen because you've given me cause to, I'm not going to feel bad about it.
Right.
But I've also reached this point in my life where, I've found peace with what I have now, and I don't really have the desire to dismantle or lower that wall and disrupt that, because it was harder before. But yes, I had more sense of, outgoing and, more bubbly, and yeah, things were more fun, but I'm peaceful now.
Yeah, I get
And
that. I totally get that.
yeah.
Billy Joel saying, some people find that it's easier to hate than to wait anymore. And there's something that you said that I found interesting, because it reminded me of something that a sales manager told me in 1985 that I never forgot. He talked about the idea of, like, let's say you were walking down the street and you have this very ticklish spot right here, right there. Like, if someone touches that, you just bust out laughing uncontrollably. And imagine you're walking down the street and every person that passes you touches that spot, and you have to stop and laugh. You can't even barely get to where you're going because you're being disrupted so much. He said, well, eventually what people do is this. They protect the spot, right? So when you tell men up front, this is not going to go anywhere, that's the same thing. You're protecting that spot. And so that's the part that's driven by fear and it's driven by history. And even though it's not necessarily wrong that you made the decisions to protect yourself the way you have, it all comes down, like, that's why I don't believe in one size fits all kind of feedback for people. It all comes back to, are you willing to pay the price that you're paying for what you have? If you are, great, everything's wonderful. If you're not, if there's an issue with that, then you can revisit the decisions that you made to protect yourself and figure out if, I can make new decisions to do something that maybe is a little beyond my comfort zone, but doesn't put me at risk, because I'm that way too. Like, I fall in love in 15 minutes. Like, when I meet a chick, halfway through the first coffee, I'm thinking about the wedding day.
Yeah.
Right. I'm very female in that way. Right. And so I know how to manage that within myself, but I don't want that part of me gone. I don't want to stop that part of me from existing, because I like that about myself. I like that I connect to people in deep and meaningful ways. And I just had to figure out for myself where that balance was. Like, for me, it was understanding that how I felt about another human being did not obligate me to give them everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
It did not obligate me to tell them everything, because there's something that every man that I've ever known experiences, because when they get close to a woman, they start telling their deep, dark secrets. And unfortunately, every man I know has told me that a woman has used that against him. At some point, she gets angry and she uses that privileged information against him. And then that guy will very often decide, I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to open up to a woman like that again. And, and I get that. Again, some people find that it's easier to hate than to wait anymore. You're covering your spot. I get that that's what people do. So, it's just food for thought, because only you know the answer to, any question that I could ask about what you're paying for that and whether you're comfortable paying that. But that's really all. It's what it always comes down to. Whatever decision that we make in life, there's always going to be a cost to that decision, and then we just have to figure out, are we willing to pay it? And if we're not, we can make new decisions.
Yeah, I never had the balance like you talk about you found. I was always a very all or nothing kind of person, because I was still rather young at that time. And um, so whenever it happened, that switch flipped and I became nothing. It went from giving my all to everything that I went into, and every person I would pour my entire being into the people around me. And I didn't have any sort of semblance of balance to it. And I had pretty non existent boundaries. And then I went a complete 180 and just became nothing. And it's not that I want to be that way for the rest of my life. I would like to achieve balance, but I think that there is some of that fear there of, because I mean, with opening yourself up comes that vulnerability, comes danger, comes risk, all of that, especially if you've been through traumatic situations. And so it's something that I should and would maybe like to work on in the future. I'm not there yet.
You'll know when
that
you're there.
that works. That works. Yeah. Repeat that, Cherry, because that was great.
You'll know when you're there, because like, if I can kind of piggyback off what Yoddah, you've known me quite a while now. I was with the father of my kids for 15 years and went through DV, a whole bunch of stuff, and then one day I'd had enough and I packed up my bag and my kids and I was gone. And I literally remember walking out the door that day and being like, I will never be with another man ever again, because that relationship ruined me. I will never open myself up to be hurt like that again. Like my whole focus for 5 years was just my kids. And I was okay with that because, when I left, I wanted better for them. I wanted them to see better. I wanted them to do better. I wanted them, just to be happy. And so my whole 5 years of that was just focused on my kids. And I was alone. I did end up meeting somebody, and I was very upfront, Jessica. I was like you, where I was like, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be no attachments because I have no desire for that. It could be like a friends with benefits thing, but that's the limit for me. And I thought I was doing a good thing in saying and being upfront with that. It ended up backfiring on me. And he got obsessed with me to the point where it was like, hey, if you don't stop, calling me and contacting me, that, it's not going to work out well for you type thing. But I left that and I was like, okay, now I'm really done. Like, I don't want anything to do with anybody. And I will say from my own experience, people know who I'm with. AC and I were best friends for like 7 months, and that's all we were. And I wasn't looking, and I was completely okay with being alone. And like, it was just like one day I was like, well, I think this is more, but I'm not sure. And it was like I needed that confirmation. And, and then it turned out that, the feelings were the same and stuff. And I say that, and it's not for everybody, but like I think that when you're friends with somebody first and you get to know them and spend time with them, like it kind of changes your outlook because there's not an expectation when you're friends, right? You're just getting, you're hanging out, you're talking all the time, you're this, you're that. And you know, and it's not to like sugarcoat Jessica, not at all, because trust me, I've been where you are, but like he was the first person that basically I was like, okay, I can let my wall down and be okay. And I literally thought I wasn't going to be with anybody ever again, and I was completely okay with that. And like he changed that for me, but like I think a big part of that is like there was no pressure on either one of us that anything was going to happen. It was just friends, and that was it, you know?
Yeah. And it sounds like you
Yeah,
adjusted your
I
strategy, and that's what created the opportunity for that result. Because again, all or nothing is a strategy, but it doesn't always
it's a
serve
bad
us.
one.
I avoid the bad or good paradigm. It's just either useful or not useful, right? So
It
if
didn't
if
work
you
out for
if you
me.
find that it's not useful, then again, whenever you feel that you're ready to tackle it, then it's just time to make new decisions and new definitions. That's really all it means,
Yeah.
and just
I
being
think I would
willing
have to
to,
go about it like Cherry.
yeah, you be
Jessica,
methodical. Yeah,
honestly, girl, like,
that's how I do it.
yeah,
Because I know that I attach very quickly, I've created a process that that lets me know if this person I'm talking to is worth my time. Like I know that I
Mm.
have to audition for women because that's just the way nature works. And I have absolutely no problem with that. Right. If it's good enough for a lion, it's good enough for me. Right. So I'll do that. And the only thing I added is because it used to be like the only barrier to entry that women had was if they liked me. If they liked me, then I was letting everybody in. Right. And then,
yeah.
then I realized, okay, I have to like them too. So after
Mhm.
I'm done auditioning and a woman likes me and decides she wants to spend time with me, and especially, naked time, then the next thing is, oh, do I like you? Like now it's your turn to that where we can figure out whether this is a mutual
Right.
thing or not. And that minor change changed everything about my relationships with women.
I think right now I'm at the stage where I'm comfortable being alone, but it's also because like I'm just now getting to the point again where I even know who I am because of the things that I went through in my marriage.
Yeah.
By the time I left, I was not a person anymore. I couldn't tell you what kind of music I liked. I couldn't tell you what my hobbies were. I I wasn't a person. It's just the simplest way I could put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see all of these prompts and things that I come across on this app that's like, what's something that, somebody said that affected you the most or that you never forgot. And for me, it's not even like all of the vitriol that my ex-husband would spew doesn't even come close. For me, the thing that hit me hardest in my life was after I left my husband. Um, I I was also there was a lot of financial abuse. So by the time I left, the only money that I had was what I had managed to get from his pockets while washing his laundry, and
Wow.
so I had moved in um, to my parents' house, and I'd only been there. It was 2 weeks after I left, and I was just a ghost of a human being. And my father looked at me and he said, I miss the person that you were before. Because even though you could be, because you could be hell to live with, you didn't take shit from anybody, and I don't know who you are now.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's stuck with me.
Trust me, Jess, we have very similar, like, my breaking point for me was my oldest, he was 10, and he said to me at the dinner table, he was like, I wish that I could see you, I wish that you were happy all the time. And I looked at him and I said, but I'm always happy. Like, I have a good job, I have you guys. He goes, yeah, the only time you're happy is when you're around us. And like, that was the click I needed to be like, okay, wow, this is extending way further than just me. And trust me, Jessica, like, I packed up my kids. I had literally $112 in my bank account. And I went to my mother's, and like, he thought I was going to go back. And I was like, I don't care what I have to do. Like, I'm never going back to that. I didn't deserve it. And so trust me, honey, like, I identify with so much that you're saying.
Yeah. And once in a while, we just sort of have to cocoon and reemerge, and what that looks like is going to vary for every individual. I've done it a few times where it's just like, all right, I'm retreating for a minute because I have to get my shit together. And
Protect your
so
peace.
yeah,
Yep.
protect your peace, and it's not easy. It's never been easy for me, but it's been worth it. It's definitely been worth it. The effort that I've put into 38 years of personal development. And oh, that brings me to the announcement, because today is my anniversary. So here we go.
Congrats, Yanda.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congrats,
That's
my
a hell of
friend.
an That's a hell of an achievement, Yoda.
Yeah.
Yep.
You should be
By
proud
the
of
way,
Kudos
that.
to
that's me
you.
on
Double your
guitar.
Yoda.
I played that riff.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. I used to use it for my a podcast that I called Chocolate Chat, and then I just kept it for everything
Love
now.
it.
Yeah.
Congrats, my friend. That's a great
Yeah.
achievement. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, and it was I went through all sorts of shit, and I went through really horrible stuff clean and sober. So, life doesn't stop just because you decide that you have to make a change, and I've been fired, and I've lost relationships, and I divorced the woman I love most in the world. All that shit happened while I was clean and sober, because it was never about, oh, I'm going to stop life from happening. It was, no, I just have to be different in my life. And we all have the power to do that at any moment in time. Thank you, Danny. Thank you. I saw you a few minutes ago that you came in. And there we go. I was just going to ask if you wanted to come up. So this is my older brother from another mother, Danny. How you doing?
It's great to see your face and to talk to you. I hadn't talked to you in a while.
Yeah.
And say hi to everybody on the panel, and to include my granddaughter at the bottom, Miss
Hi,
Harry.
Grandpa. How are you feeling,
Hi,
honey?
Danny.
I'm better than I was, but I'm sure
Yeah?
glad I can say hi to everybody on the panel and say hi to my younger brother from another mother.
Yeah.
Glad you're feeling better, Grandpa.
I'll be better. I'm going to do live on Friday. We're doing Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah,
So,
with a new cool logo and everything.
oh
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah,
plugged it in Medic's Live today. I'm like, if you have not come to Trivial Pursuit, make sure you are there. Traffic and I are already throwing the insults back and forth at each other. I'm like, you're going down. I'm coming for all of you.
Nice.
I've
And
yet to
Amy's
be
here.
able
Hello,
to
Amy.
join in on one. I really want to.
Oh,
yeah.
Jessica, it's the most
Yeah,
fun. You
it's
have to
amazing.
come.
Yeah.
My
Mary G,
my
hello.
daughter Amy's in the chat.
Yeah.
Miss Amy.
Yes,
Yeah.
Amy, DM me. You said you've got a lot to catch me up on, so DM me, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
See,
yes.
you guys should, excuse me, you should have changed numbers, you and Amy, Sherry, so you guys can use the bat signal like me and Yoda does.
The texting? Yeah, I can do that. Amy, I'll send you my
Yeah,
number, honey.
yeah. Send her a DM with your phone number, and then
Sure.
she'll connect.
You don't want me rubbing off on her, though, right? I'm the.
I think you'll be all right. I think you'll be okay.
I'll
Anyway,
do
I'm
that.
sorry, Yoda. You had something you were going to
Oh,
say,
no,
and I
not,
didn't
not at
mean.
all. I was responding to Amy. She said, thanks for sharing. And autocorrect changed Yoda to Yiddish, which is hilarious. Whenever I type Yoda in my phone, for some reason, it always changes it to granddaughter. I don't know. I don't know why it thinks I'm trying to say granddaughter.
That's
That seems real
wild.
goofy. But anyway, so I don't know if you feel like participating, Danny, but the prompt magic wand refers to the question of the evening that I've asked everybody, and they've been so gracious to open up their lives to us and share these things. But it's up to you whether you want to play along. The question is, if you had a magic wand, what would you change about yourself as a person?
And there's so many things I think I would have changed or would have loved to have changed. Uh, I wish, well, being a better person when I was younger is a lot that, I was not the angel everybody thinks I was. Uh, but I accepted that. My mom's biggest problem with me when I was a little kid was I couldn't keep my clothes on when I was six, when I was 4 or 5.
Oh
I'd be
my.
Okay.
out at I'd be out there, 3 years old, out there in a little bit of dirt yard that we had, and my neighbor, Miss DeBono, would call my mom and say, "You know, Danny's outside naked."
That's very
So,
funny.
but anyway, that's a little piece of information that I don't even think my daughter knew.
Right.
But
She's calling you a
it,
nudist.
I know, well, the streaker, they call it streaky. They made
Yeah,
a song about that called
that's
the
right.
streak back in
Oh,
the
yes, they
70s.
called him the streak.
Yeah.
Fastest man on two
Don't look
feet.
at those.
Yeah.
Don't look at those two
Woogity
legs. Don't.
woogity. That's a funny ass
But
song, too. It's still funny.
it is.
I was
It
like
is.
9 or 10 when that song came out, and I thought it was hilarious then, and I still think it's funny.
Oh
Amy
yeah,
says I
it's
might be
absolutely.
traumatized. Yeah.
Yes, you might be, but
Well, aside from your tendencies to shed your clothes as a child, is there anything later on that you would change, or even now that you would change about yourself?
if I knew I was going to live this long, I'd take better care of myself.
That's fair.
I
That
forget. Was that
that
W.C. Fields? It was some comedian, right?
I don't know, but anyway, I mean, I never thought that I'd live to as old as I am. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
I had so many times unalive that could have taken me any time, but. I am blessed that I'm still here, and I got Carol taking great care of me, and have her in my life. Because if, like I say, and I'll say it every day, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here.
You
Just
hit the
Tell her we love
lottery with
her.
Carol. I mean, I
yeah,
love the origin story, how it was just happenstance that you just met randomly, and now you have this amazing love story.
Right? They told us
so
that story over dinner. It was so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's something I needed at the right time. She was at the right time in the right place.
And Grandpa,
Uh,
you were friends first, right?
Absolutely, we were
See?
friends for I think over a year.
There you
We
go.
lived together in sin for a year, so I know we
There you
were
go.
friends.
Old
And we were
school is the
friends
best
a
school.
few months. Yeah, a few months before that, she was doing my curtains and in
You
my
had to keep
house
her. Your
there.
cat liked her.
You know, hey, she can sew. That was a plus right there because I
There you
can't
go.
sew shit.
See
So,
that? So
you
you
know,
complement each
I
other.
can't
It
even
works out
thread a
perfectly.
needle. Yeah, there you go. You know,
Yeah.
so, but yeah, as far as changes go, you know, I don't know if I would change much because I learned a lot from my mistakes,
That.
Sure.
and that really helped me at to this point because now I know stuff that I shouldn't do and I will never do again.
Yeah.
And
I think the only
and
real failure in life is not learning from your mistakes. I mean, even Thomas
right,
Edison, at one point, he had done something that, as the legend goes, they sent a reporter to interview him after he had 5,000 failed attempts at creating the light bulb. And the reporter asked him, how do you feel about failing that 5,000 times? He said, I didn't fail 5,000 times. I successfully learned 5,000 things that won't make a light bulb.
there you go.
you
There
know,
you go. That's a
Right,
way to look at it.
absolutely.
like I said, there is nothing good or bad, but thinking makes it so.
That's true. Very
Facts.
true. Anyway, it's just great to come up for a little while and to
Yeah,
see you and talk to you and uh, I hadn't been on anybody's lives since I got kind of turned around and ill. I don't know what happened. I just all of a sudden started feeling bad
yeah.
and
It's just
and
life.
Because
I
That's
oh,
we're
Grandpa,
walking meat sacks, and things go wrong all the time.
could be
So
something you
yeah.
ate, a
yeah,
small virus. It could have been numerous things,
yeah.
honey.
Could have been so many
Well,
things.
I really felt bad when let me tell you, I had diarrhea. I think I told you everybody, and I actually messed the bed while I was sleeping, and I don't
Wow.
remember doing it. And I felt so bad. I felt like a child again. And then and poor Carol, she had to sit there and it's hard on her to make and strip the bed and make the bed again. And even though the sheets were due to be worse, it's just the idea it happened. And I just I feel like I'm a 75-year-old mess, a baby again. And
Listen,
Nah.
the end is what it is. As we get older, things change, and it's a trade-off, right? Like, everybody wants to live a long time, but sometimes the end is undignified. But thankfully, you have someone that cares about you the way your wife does, and you could just feel it when I was just sitting there with you, and just talking to the both of you. It was so clear that there was love in the air between you, and it was a beautiful thing to witness.
Grandpa, I'll never forget it. And I've told Grandpa this story, Yoda, not you, but my mother passed away 2 years ago from lung cancer, and I was super close with her. And at the end, that was the biggest thing that bothered her because she was always so like her pride was so important to her. And I remember we had this moment, and as sad as a moment it was that we had together, I always look back and I'm like, that was one of the best moments we had because I was like getting her into a shower, and I was like, "Hey, mom, time to lose your inhibitions. Like we're going into," and I'm always, you know me, Yoda, I'm always trying to crack a joke type
Yeah.
thing. And she, I got her out. And of course, unfortunately, at that point, she was wearing a diaper. She had no
Mm.
choice. She passed away, 3 days later. And she sat on the couch and I was getting it on her. And she was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Like, I've lost my dignity. Look at my daughters having to help me." And like, I remember looking at her and I said, "It's okay to be upset, but we're not going to stay there because you took care of me my whole life.
Exactly.
Now it's my turn to take care of you for the time that you have left."
Yeah.
So
That's
trust me,
that's the
Grandpa, you
circle.
gotta,
That's the circle.
yeah,
You know,
Got a
You
wonderful
know,
wife
and the thing is that we know that Carol wants to take care of you. That's the
there.
important thing.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel. And, you know, we've been lucky enough to be around them, and just the love that they radiate for the two of each other is just like, if I could end up that happy at that age,
Yeah.
like that's goals right there.
This reminds me, I have to text my son because I told him that once I start wearing diapers, it's time for him to grab a pillow and end it for me.
Stop.
I might have to rethink that. I don't know. Hey, Penelope, good to see you.
Hi, Penelope.
Yeah.
Great
So
minds
anyway,
think
this has been a fantastic
alike.
conversation. It really has. Like, you know, I throw up
Yeah.
these ideas and I never know where it's going to go, and I'm always delighted by not only people being willing to participate, but being really vulnerable and sharing really personal things. I don't take that for granted. I think you're all amazing.
Well, this is like a therapy
Thank you.
session.
Yeah. Thank you for allowing us the space to do so. I know you genuinely enjoy it, but it still takes, in my opinion, a special person to give their space to allow others the space to do so.
Facts.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's I had hopes that I could make money online. I don't know if I'm either ambitious enough or smart enough to do that. But I do love social media because I can connect with people, and I always have. Got laid a few
Hmm.
times because of it. That was nice, you know. So, you know,
Oh boy.
I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about making money. I'm just gonna be authentic and righteous about it, and it feels better. I mean, I was having a good time before trying to make money on this, but I decided, you know what? I'm just going to let go of that. If it happens, it happens, great. But my focus is just going to be on having meaningful conversations with people, and I feel better about that.
We love you for that, Yoda.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Don't ever change. Minus
I
that trivial
appreciate
pursuit when you get too competitive. Cut that shit out.
that. I was a little concerned last week because Sam was nipping at my heels right till the last minute. I was like, damn it, man.
Can I can I ask, like, with Trivial Pursuit, is it just like random facts and information?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's called
Oh,
Trivial
I've got to
Pursuit
stop
because it's
in.
unimportant information, right? But it's I don't know why. I really
You
can't
make it
explain
so
why
fun.
because I've never been big on board games. In fact, I normally avoided board games because people got really ugly sometimes when they played board games.
Hmm.
And somehow, for some reason, because maybe it's the right combination of people, we spend 3 hours almost
We did.
entirely. The only time we're not laughing is when we're shut up so that we can hear the question, and that's it. And then we're laughing after
Facts.
that. It's
And
hilarious.
that's
I've
hard. And that's
I've got
hard
to
to get
come
them to
join
shut
in.
up.
Yeah. Yeah, Danny has the unenviable task of wrangling cats.
We have no guardrails when it's Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah.
We need them, but we don't have them.
But it's so much fun, and there are a couple of benefits. Of course, laughter is its own magic and medicine in your body, but our brains, I feel confident saying our and speaking for the group, our brains disconnect to the rest of the horror that we talk about during the week, and for that 3 hours, we're just sitting there having fun.
Yep.
Yeah, I think everyone needs that sometimes. I definitely want to come join in.
Yeah,
What time
just
does it usually happen on Friday?
follow Danny at 6 p.m. Eastern time and adjust for whatever time zone you're in. But just follow Danny, and you'll, or you know, or if you see that I'm live at that time, either way, just I'm like something has to go wrong in order for me to miss it because it's
Yeah.
my favorite activity on social media, and I don't think you could have a better time with your clothes on anywhere else on social media.
Ah,
I've been following Danny for a while. I just usually end up so busy on Friday evenings, but I'm gonna try to make time to stop in because that sounds
girl,
like a
Excellent.
make some
blast.
time because
Yeah.
literally it is a time, and all we do. I've never, like Yoda, we've done so many Trivial Pursuits. I don't think I've ever laughed as hard as I did last week.
Last
With
week,
Judy
And
in her
la-
cabinet.
yeah, last week you guys heard the loudest laugh that I have is when I go totally high pitch. I was literally sweating because I was laughing so much.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
let's not forget that on Mondays and Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Pacific time, I actually do the way of positive change, where I talk about current
Yep.
events in a positive way to try to change. And I don't really talk to mega because they're fucking lost, and I don't have no desire
Good way to put
to
it,
talk
Grandpa.
to
Yeah,
people from dumb Fuckistan.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, that's what I do on Mondays and
Where
Wednesdays, and then
IQ
on
meets
the
bowling
first
shoe.
and third Sunday of the month, it's veterans. It's
Vet
Vet
talk.
Talk. It's
Yeah.
Veterans Helping Veterans at 3 p.m. Pacific time, where I talk to veterans about their transition from military life to civilian life, dealing with the VA and other things that they may have questions. That's
And
what
let me
I
tell
do.
you something. Danny is an Iron Man. This guy he does at least 9 hours of TikTok live every single week. Crazy. And
Plus,
he's
I'm
just
on
so
yours.
giving, and the platform is just like this is the best of what social media has to offer.
Plus, I'm on
I love
yours
that.
6 days a week.
Yeah.
Normally, I've been out of it because of the last few days, but I'm back. I'm
Yeah.
coming back.
You're
So,
back. All right, guys. I love you
So,
so much, all of you. But it is 11:30 for me, and I need to tuck my old ass in at
All
yeah,
8:30.
right. Well,
right.
thank you
And you
so
only
much for
got two
coming
more
by and
hours. Watch her. She'll be up
I'm
two
not
more hours
Grandpa. Stop calling me
trolling
out, man.
TikTok. I catch her all the time. She says she's going to bed, and then I see her sending me messages or texting somebody else. So
put
don't
I
the
worry
have to
about it.
phone
troll
down.
before I go to bed, Grandpa. Chill out.
I know. I know.
It's a
I
It
love
takes
you
me two
process.
guys.
hours.
There's an off ramping
Yeah.
process.
It's
All right. Have
happening,
a
but
great
thank
night.
you for
Thank you
having
so
me,
much.
everybody. Have a
Absolutely.
great night.
good
Jessica, nice to
night.
meet you. And
It was
everybody
Love
so
have
you,
a
nice to
great
Sherry.
meet
night.
you.
Love you guys. Love you,
Take
Grandpa.
Uh,
care.
Bye.
love you, Sherry.
All right. Spectacular. So, if anyone has any last thoughts, we can share them now, or otherwise we can wrap up. Either way, I'm good.
I'm good. I'm just
Um,
happy I could be here with you
Thank you.
tonight
Go ahead, Jessica. What's on
for
your
a little
mind?
while.
oh no, I was just gonna say, I think I'm good. Thank you for kind of letting me vent for a minute and talk through all this stuff.
Yeah. No, it's my pleasure. I mean it when to me it's a privilege for someone to share their life, whether it's a thimbleful or an ocean full. It doesn't matter to me. It's like I feel privileged when someone is willing to share that. So thank you for being willing to do that because it sparked great conversation.
Of course.
All right. Well, we'll see you soon. Have a great night.
Thanks, you too.
All right, Danny. So I'm glad that you got your PSA out and everybody knows where to find you. That's good stuff. Where and when. So, yeah. Good night, Cynthia. Good to see you. Thank you, JK. So, any last thoughts, Danny?
No, I'm just real glad that I had the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you tonight.
Yeah, I'm glad you
And
came up. I wasn't sure if you were gonna,
I
but
was sitting in the I was sitting in the theater, but I just wasn't in the chat area yet. But I
yeah,
was
yeah,
listening since you came on with your music and everything. I just
yeah,
was sitting back, and it was a great live. You had a great topic. People came up and shared some real good stuff. I was glad to see Tara come up and share a little bit of hers,
yeah.
and it's awesome. You did a wonderful subject tonight, and we're blessed to have you in our
Ah,
family.
thank you. I'm blessed to have to be part of it. It's a two-way street. So, look, continue to feel better. And we will hopefully catch you tomorrow night. But if you need to rest, feel free to rest.
I'm going to do what I can. The biggest task I have tomorrow is Carol's going to get me out of this house. I'm going crazy. And I'm going to go get my hair cut. I got to
There you
get my
go.
hair cut. I need to
Nice.
feel a little better. So I need to
Good.
get out and get a little hair, get a haircut,
Yeah, a
get
little
my
fresh
smiling
air, a
face
little
ready for
interacting with
Friday.
other people, you know. It's
Yeah.
always fun being
Drive
in
the
a barber
pony.
shop.
Yeah, and drive the pony. I
Yeah,
gotta drive that pony. You know. So.
nice. Good stuff. All right. Well, until we meet again, have a
Thank
good
you, my
night.
friend.
All right.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you, my brother.
All right. Love you. Ah, man, what a wonderful evening. And I was really tired and I was feeling a little grumpy before we started. And, it's just amazing that, the social media has created the opportunity for us to get together and to learn about each other. It's really beautiful. So I thank all of you for participating. And with any luck, we will see each other tomorrow. So until then, peace, love, and granola. Talk to you soon.